good evening, and welcome to another exciting episode of Baden After Dark. And it seems that my studio has been invaded by two individuals who go by the name of Pacific414, even though he seems to be a bit of an Atlantic man myself, and a person who insists on cash money. So please welcome them all here to Baden After Dark. How's that?
What's up? How's
Hey,
everybody
how's it
doing?
going?
Hello. What's going on?
Um, strange things, as always, in the world
As
today.
always, yes.
I know you were talking about good old Chappelle. I don't know what you guys were all talking about because I obviously came in awfully late getting stuff ready. And echo. What are you talking about, John? John Rendell, my super wrench. There he is. Hail. The old man is in the chat. So is Glenn. Hey, Glenn, how you doing?
And
And
the,
Mm.
the lovely Lady Arwen. Sorry, I got tongue tied because she's in the
Wait,
chat.
where
I
was she?
can't help it.
Oh, there she is. The
Oh my
lovely.
gosh, it's Arwen.
She's
Hello
got
again.
whenever she's. I love seeing if I can get her to laugh whenever she's on a stream with
Oh
me
my
because she's
gosh,
got the prettiest
anytime
laugh.
she has a great laugh. Like this
Mm.
is not about making her ego grow, but she's gonna kill me later. But
Oh,
no,
of course,
yeah, she
of course,
will.
we got
All right.
Spock.
I'm not going to stop her.
Nah, I'm
And
sure you aren't.
who the hell is the 7414? Come on, you're in the show.
Yeah, you're in the show, dude. What are you doing? Typing in the chat.
I don't know.
There's
I've
a-
seen Baron do it plenty of times, and Gary yells at him every time.
and Brandon, yeah, both of
Yeah.
us. Yeah,
Uh,
gotta get yelled at somehow. And there's nothing like getting yelled at by Gary, that's for sure.
oh boy.
Oh, and John had two streams going on. Shame on you, sir. Shame. For shame.
Don't you know there's a one stream limit?
Yeah.
John, I'm disappointed.
Uh,
Well, he dropped out.
he
Did we lose
did.
him?
Oh no, do we?
Is he gone?
Uh-uh. Red alert. That's no
Red
good.
alert. Red alert. You know what's happening. You know what's happening with him right
Uh-huh.
now.
Help! I'm being repressed!
That's exactly what's happening.
Probably.
I got dangerous. I found out how to be able to take things off of YouTube and be able to make clips in. I've been
Uh,
absolutely
uh-uh.
merciless in doing so.
I gotta learn how to do that. I haven't gotten to that
Oh,
stage yet. Teach me your ways, Baron.
I could
Teach me the
teach
power,
you.
yeah.
I could show you.
Or Mike could show me. Yeah.
oh, yeah, Mr. Mike, listen to him. There's I can do it. I can do that for you.
Yeah.
Actually, what I'll do is
You can do
Yeah.
it.
tell you what.
Yeah.
Tell you what. In the private chat there, I got the link for the thing that I do that with, right there.
Oh,
So,
great.
Oh,
Mhm.
nice.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's going around, and I was trying to find some appropriate things for today, being that this is Star
Sweet.
Wars Day,
Thank you.
not Disney space conflicts day. We don't recognize that at all.
Right.
Screw you, Kennedy, and screw you, Pablo Hidalgo. I actually have more disdain for him than I do for anybody else
Well,
over there.
Well, with him
yeah.
going after Star Wars theory,
I
just
mean,
being
that
an
wasn't
absolute joke
good.
about it.
That guy has his own problems, but yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I always said it. What saddens me is because he used to write such great articles in the EU. And some of my
I'm
favorite
sure
ones
he
he did
did.
for West End Games with the Adventure Journal. He does such great work. And then, of course, turn around and see him. It's like you feel like you're on Mustafar. It's like, you're my brother,
Yeah.
screaming up at us. I hate you. Like, okay, fine, screw you too.
Fine. Get lost.
What's the matter? You a little burnt up over the whole thing there?
Uh,
Oh, So, I do like to ask, because there's probably people who don't know either one of you. I know I've had good old Pacific on before, and for some reason he wanted to come back. I guess I wasn't merciless enough on him.
It works both ways. You say the same when you're on my channel. Why I keep inviting you back?
You're just a man who just enjoys abuse. That's what I found out. I mean, you're a Cubs fan after all.
Oh, yeah, they did win in 2016, though. Probably won't win
They
for
did.
another 100 years, but we'll see.
Yeah,
At least I saw the win one.
there
You
you
did.
go.
That's right.
I still wish it would have been the 15. I still wish it was in 15.
Yeah.
That would have been a great tie-in to Back to the Future too. I mean,
True.
honestly,
True. Yes.
it just makes me cry that that didn't happen. But for you, Cash Money, a lot of people I don't think know fully who you are. We don't necessarily go with the same circles per se, except for of course Mike here. Um, what is your what? I have the one question. What got you into the geekdom, the nerdism, the science fiction, fantasy, and such? What was your
Uh,
gateway drug? Would you say?
my brother and my dad, they wanted me exposed to all this sci-fi fantasy. They had a lot to do with it, and also just finding it for myself from stuff like I grew up playing Japanese RPGs, so
Okay.
hmm
Now, were
and
they
hmm
dubbed in English or were they in Japanese?
no, they were in English.
Okay.
And
Here, I thought
but
we had.
when I started, they of course were basically subtitles in English. So yeah,
Hmm.
because it was just that was that time, long time ago.
Hmm. Yeah, when things were in their infancy, you might say.
Yes,
Uh,
yes,
so,
yes.
would you say that was the thing that really opened your doors up? Was the Japanese role playing, science fiction, fantasy, and such games?
Yeah, it did. And I've always liked creating things. Like I would go outside, and I'm sure a lot of people would do this. I go see a ninja when I saw the Ninja Turtle movie when I was really young, and it just inspired me. I wanted to go out and be a Ninja Turtle. Kids just being creative the way they're supposed to be. But
Hmm.
I've always been a creative person. If it wasn't like Legos, so just seeing something, it's just never enough for me. I need to actually start building it, writing things, building stuff, and go from there. So, hmm
Most definitely. Yeah, I can understand. I mean, of course, you're making me feel old by some back saying, "Yeah, when I was a kid, watching with the Turtles movies." Like,
well, I mean, you go to. I went to a lot of films with my brother
hmm.
before, and sometimes my dad, but mostly my brother, and then our friends, and things change sadly, but you still have those memories. So going to seeing the special edition at the time called the Chinese Man Theater. I guess it's called something else now for some silly reason, but um,
Yeah.
that's what it was called back then. And go see the special editions of the OT movies, and I think it was at the time it was A New Hope, and seeing all these people cheering, and the years that they were actually dressing up. I don't think
Hmm.
people still dress up still, but I don't know if it's as much as with a lot of the newer stuff, a lot of the newer Disney Star Wars stuff. I don't think people care as much, but maybe to an extent. I think they cared more when they wanted to dress up with the prequels, and especially the OT and both of them.
Hmm. Yeah,
But yeah. hmm
I agree on that one. It doesn't seem like there's as much. You see some of the rays and stuff like that out there, but it's nothing like even the prequel. No, people dressing up in the prequel stuff
hmm
because
Yeah,
everyone wants to be a Jedi.
exactly. Yeah. So I've always, I've never wanted to be just watch something. I wanted to see what can I create, what can I learn from this. That's why I've always been fascinated by flawed characters. If it isn't stuff I've seen in games, if it's stuff characters I've seen in movies, TV shows, and even just watching stuff, it can be relaxing. It can be
Hmm.
a stress reliever.
I mean, for me, it was like just playing with the toys when I was growing up. I mean, that's about the only
Hmm.
thing I wanted was the Star Wars toys. So here you are, you continue on the adventures yourself, playing with your toys. And what new adventures
Hmm.
can you get them in? It's like I gotta get the new action figure so I can, I know I can do this story and this. And anytime a new thing came out, it's like in the Saturday morning, sit down and start watching the Looney Tunes, and it's like, hey, something new.
Yeah, it's just I just like having a lot of variety, Baron. Always, watching, and a lot of entertainment now is just right now. It's not the same. I'm still finding some good entertainment, sometimes great entertainment, like Better Call Saul,
Hmm.
and I just want to explore that. And my friends and I, we have been talking about creating stuff. There's some artist friends I know, and so if that happens, you never know if this stuff's going to happen. Um, but I just want to keep creating. And I like to inspire more people to create instead of wanting to cancel people.
Hmm. Oh yeah, exactly. Even if you don't like it,
Yeah.
it's like as I sat back and said, especially when the He-Man thing came out, I said that no, someone so on one of the channels I was watching, I was almost screaming. He was sitting back saying, "Well, I don't care about He-Man. Who cares about what's going on there?" And I'm screaming, "It's like I don't care if it's My Little Pony. If they're going in there and destroying it, I don't want to see it destroyed like they're doing with the other stuff, even if it's not my thing."
Hmm.
And that's
Exactly.
just it. It's like I believe in keeping the sanctity of what the spirit of the product or the IP or the universe or whatever you want to call it
Yep.
safe and not perverted and twisted and turned away.
Yep.
Well, it's just like when somebody's asked to, take over the reins of a established property. You're the
Hmm.
custodian, so
Hmm.
handle it with care.
Hmm.
Any of the legacy characters that you decide to write for, look at what's already been established for those characters and honor what's been established. But you
Hmm.
don't see that nowadays.
No, it's a disdain of the previous. We saw that with J.J. Abrams on many cases. Even with the Star Trek, there's a disdain they had for the original characters, and a disdain with the Star Wars characters. And it's like it's almost like they're going in with their ego, saying, "I want to take this and I want to rewrite it and I want to be thought of as Lucas. I don't want people to think of Lucas. I want them to think of me."
Well, they have a lot of people in the cookie jar, and I can honestly admit that they JJ's done some stuff that I've enjoyed. I enjoyed
Hmm.
Lost a lot. I enjoyed Cloverfield that he was involved in. He was even
Hmm.
producer on Person of Interest, and that was a great
Hmm.
show.
Yeah.
Well written by Jonathan Nolan. But with Star Wars and Star Trek, it's just not really memorable to me. It'd be like, oh, I liked this at the time, and then you think, man, did I really like this? Am I just fooling myself? Maybe I like certain parts of it, Yeah.
It's kind of funny that way. You kind of go into something and you go out going, "I really didn't like that." And you sit down and have like a second viewing. Like in my day, you go to see it at the theater. You go
Hmm.
home 6 months or a year later, it's on cable. It's like, oh, what the hell? I watch it. It's like, oh, really? That wasn't that bad. In fact, it's pretty freaking good, which really got a lot of the cult things going,
Hmm.
and new life into things. So in some ways, I think Blade Runner had a little bit of that with in there. Definitely Highlander, various stuff. Hi, Wendy Webb, Trauma Warrior. Good to see you. Then there's other stuff where everyone's going Google Gaga, like just like the Titanic thing. Everyone's going nuts over it. And it's like now it's like, yeah, who cares?
Yeah, that year, L.A. Confidential should have won, but I get it. The popularity of Titanic made all that
Hmm.
money. It was number one at the box office for many, many weeks. But
Hmm.
I would still say the best part of that movie is the second hour because of the special effects. I
Hmm.
didn't care about the first hour. This romance, soap opera type nonsense to me, anyways.
Hmm. A lot of people don't know James Cameron literally remade another Titanic film from, I can't remember if it's the 50s or 40s or something like that. and basically it was almost a full remake of that movie. And of course, he
Hmm.
put his own twist in there. Obviously, a lot of people don't know that. I can't.
It's
Wish I
interesting.
could. Mhm. And
I'll
that's why
say
I
to
like
this
that.
day
Hmm.
that the best Titanic movie I've ever seen is A Night to Remember.
Oh,
Hmm. I don't know if I've watched that one. I have watched some documentaries because, of course, the Titanic disaster is very interesting.
hmm I'm sure many of us know who Fit for Hire is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I do.
and he did one up, a drawing up. I think of the space hotel that they have in Disney, and he had done it up like the Titanic, and they had the four smokestacks, and he only had three coming smoke coming out of the three. And I sent him a DM. I go, so you know that fourth one was just air intake, didn't you? He goes, oh yeah, I love history of the Titanic. So it's always it's interesting where you find that and where people interests and uh, fascinations that they have on there out there.
Oh, is it?
Uh-huh.
It's free on YouTube. I'll have to check that out. I don't
Yeah,
think
you
I've
can find
watched that one yet.
a whole
Yeah.
history on the Titanic, its sister ships, and their ill fates.
hmm
Yeah.
and of course, remember they keep on wanting to do a Titanic 2 ship built just
Yeah.
like the other one. It's like, do you
Oh
really
boy.
want to sail on a?
Mm, mm.
I mean, you got the old sailors' superstition that you never go on board a ship that got lost in a disaster
Mhm.
because that's going to follow along there. So that one of the things where they say, a ship that's lost in disaster, they won't necessarily rename again. If it goes down in battle, that's different. But you won't find a Mauritius too. Let's put it that way.
Well, it's a lot of arrogance. You build something and you think there's never anything wrong with it. And then
hmm
there's some problems because we are humans, we are flawed.
hmm
Yeah, and that
Well,
was
trust
one
me,
of the
I know
things
them.
about the Titanic. This ship is unsinkable.
hmm
Mhm. Yep.
And they took the wrong turns, went into and gashed it just right, and down she went. And yeah,
Yes.
always beware when someone says it's unsinkable or it's impossible or whatever to stop this or destroy it. There's always a chink in the armor. Star Wars taught us that there's that 2 meter hole, and Luke got it. Boom.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Yep.
Even in stories like that. And yeah, John's absolutely right. The Oceanic and the Britannic both had their little issues too.
Mhm.
Just like the dirigible program that the Brits had. Uh, they took I think two dirigibles. They got it from Germany of all places. Then they extended the dirigible their own way, and they didn't do it right, and boom, they're lost. It's like, okay, don't mess
Right.
around with perfection too.
Yep.
Out of of course, Cash, you are a man of multiple interests, of course, which is good, as I am. Uh, in the science fiction world, what would you say is kind of your favorite? What do you like to gravitate towards? Science fiction,
Oh
fantasy. I'll include
man.
fantasy too.
Oh, that's a tough one.
Yeah, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, I like, well, space and then, horror. I think I find things like, or, exploring out there in space. I find thinking about aliens, to an extent. Just aliens, what it would be like. We've already had movies. What would it be like if a person lived on Mars? How
hmm
could they survive? I find that very interesting.
hmm
So I would say the space horror I find very interesting. I really found, of course, Alien and Aliens very interesting.
hmm
I thought, well, what could happen, and I do also feel that other people have brought up in the past that we don't know if aliens would be this aggressive and want to kill us.
hmm
I also feel that other people are like, this planet is too insane for them, and they're like, we're out of here, we're done, that's it. We're
Kind of like a national anthem. Okay, lock the doors, roll up the
No,
windows.
seriously, these humans are too crazy for us. We can't take it. Yeah.
I always thought, if they were around, that they would be watching us because we'd be at a time that they had in their past, and just on the social, a level, trying to see what do we do, how do we go through all this, because we're almost like a living laboratory, and not necessarily interfere, but to see, okay, what are these idiots going to do today? You know,
Hmm. Yes.
no, are they going to do things right? Or are we going to have something like this?
Moscow in flames, missiles headed toward New York. Film at 11.
I mean, you never know.
Yes. Yes. That's why I like shows like X-Files was so interesting. What is the government covering up?
Mhm,
And it seems like this man Mulder is crazy,
mhm,
and Scully is more grounded than he is. But it was very interesting.
mhm,
And I think it's good as humans we explore these things. If they're a show and things that could possibly be true, like is there something out there like the black oil? It's very interesting to me. But I've always been interested in space. Star Trek interests me, especially the older Star Trek. I grew up with
mhm,
it, Baron.
mhm.
Um,
Well, I mean, I did too. I mean,
mhm.
I was alive when the original show was running, but I was still a baby, so at least I got that
Yeah,
going for me.
like I grew up with Doctor Who. I grew up with because of my dad showed me all this stuff. I
Hmm.
saw Aliens. I saw Alien. I found all this stuff very interesting. I watched Space Odyssey,
Hmm.
2001: A Space Odyssey. You know, and I can see how people can find that boring, but it's still an interesting movie. What could happen if machines actually turn? That's why Terminator was so interesting.
Hmm. Oh
Yes,
yeah.
Arwen has great taste, but I'm not surprised. Yeah.
Well, and even some of the old shows, because you had like Soldier and the Demon with Glass Hand in the original Outer Limits, which has the same kind of tone as the Terminator in some aspects, not necessarily the robotics. So the Demon with Glass Hand with the robotics, but Soldier with the time travel, going back in time battle. Um, of course, you have the Cybermen, which are great in Doctor Who, being cybernetic life forms. Uh, yeah, I mean, uh, it's just so many interesting things you have with that robotics.
Hmm.
And I'm one of those that actually believes that the original Terminator was the better of the two films, and I
Really,
will
I
hold
still like
myself.
two the best, but
But the
I
reason why
understand
I
that.
say, yeah, and the
Hmm.
reason why I say that is because Terminator 2 is basically a remake of the first one,
Hmm.
but it just had the bigger, splashier special effects.
Hmm.
And I was just kind of more in tune with the fact that you have Reese trying to save, you know, uh, trying to save the life. I got Mel Block's name. Arnold Schwarzenegger going around, hunting them down. For me, that had a little bit more of more tension, even though the special again it was something that was on a more limited budget, and they worked more with the story. Where the second one was like, okay, let's just redo it and just make it splashier and throw special effects in. And I'm not saying it's a bad one. I didn't say Terminator 2 was bad. It's just my preference between the two.
Well,
No,
Sarah.
because even
Mhm.
go ahead, Cash.
Are you
Go ahead.
sure?
Yeah, yeah.
Even Sarah Connor Chronicles was really good. That
Well,
tied
yeah.
in well. I mean, it just was a well written show.
Hmm.
It's funny. The
I never
lead
saw.
singer of Garbage was a Terminator in that. Shirley
Oh yeah.
Manson. She's kind of nuts, but we'll get on that later.
Who in
Um,
Hollywood isn't nuts? Let's just put it that way.
yeah.
I mean, the ones that aren't nuts are the ones that got the hell out of Dodge and just go there to work. Chris Pratt, who has his farm out in Montana, and others like that.
He seems pretty normal to me, Chris Pratt. I don't.
I would love to sit down and have a good time
Hmm.
with Chris Pratt. He's a Minnesota boy. He's from Virginia, Minnesota. So
Hmm. Makes
So
sense.
that's up there north in northern Minnesota. So he was a hunter, fisher, all that stuff. So it's like, okay, so there's a little bit of a Minnesota, identity. It's like, okay, I can identify with you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. And
Mm-hmm.
Baron, it wasn't just like the sci-fi. I mean, look at all the. We've talked about this some before, and I'm sure Mike would agree with this. you know, you grew up watching. Go back and watch old episodes of Wonder Woman. You,
Mm-hmm.
when I was growing up, there was Batman the Animated Series. Great cartoon, just
Mm-hmm.
great for adults, great for kids. It's still great. It was just a
You talk
well
about
written show. Yeah,
you talk
Batman
about the
the
'91
Animated
one.
Series. Yes, the
Okay,
animated
yeah, it was
series.
a great show. Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a great show. I still wish they didn't change the animation a little bit, but even like
Mm-hmm.
Batman Beyond, when you get older, was really good. It's just I really wish that DC would be bringing a lot of this back. I
Mm-hmm.
saw today there's going to be a Green Lantern film, animated film that could be interesting, but
Yeah.
um, yeah, there's just so much to work with, and I didn't really grow up reading many comics. I did read some Spawn comics. I did
Mm-hmm.
read Spawn here and there. I did read some Spider-Man,
Mm-hmm.
and I just would like to see more of those shows again that we grew up with. I mean, like that Wonder Woman show. Even if you didn't watch it when it was on, you watch it later on reruns, and
Mm-hmm.
it's just a fun show. And it's still
Mm-hmm.
basically Wonder Woman.
Yeah, it is. I mean, that really
Huh,
had
okay.
captured the
hmm
the comic book feel to it, really, and
hmm
and I don't think it really made things stupid. I mean, it
No,
didn't dumb it down really.
they did
It was just
not.
for fun.
Right, it was fun, and there was just there Wonder Woman's just a really great character, and if Discovery's serious about wanting to really make money again, and one of my friends mentioned this recently when we were talking. He
Mhm.
says, "Why don't they also put Wonder Woman as the face as well?" And I says, "Yes, why don't they?" So
Mhm.
then you have the three. You have Batman, or you have Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman.
Mhm.
So I would love to see that. So we'll see what happens. That would be great.
Mhm.
But
It
I
would
just
be.
I just think I think it's just good to push people to explore this, and all these people who have like, oh, I want to see this. I was like, you guys got to watch this because this is great.
Mhm.
Why did this go on 9 seasons? Why did this go on? And you'll probably also laugh too, Baron. But like, I got into sitcoms as well. I mean, I don't
Yep.
know how much Friends I watched with my brother, and Frasier. Frasier was great. You
Mhm.
don't like Friends?
I'm not a Friends guy. My
Not
wife
Friends yet.
loves it,
No,
but
but I'm
Frasier,
just
yeah. Mhm.
yeah. Cheers. I would say even Frasier was better than Cheers, and I like Cheers.
Mhm.
But these shows growing up, they had funny characters. They were interesting. There was
Mhm.
ideas. I enjoyed also law shows, like
Mhm.
Boston Legal was great, well written
Mhm.
show, great. Yeah. Boston Public, Boston Legal. I enjoyed those. I enjoyed a lot of the CSI shows. I just like to always expand my horizons, man.
Mhm. I mean, for me growing up, being a little older, obviously, we had like the streets of San Francisco. Uh,
hmm
the one show I always begged my parents to because it was always on late. I think it was on at 9 o'clock. And it was past my bedtime. But the one show I always wanted to watch was Cannon with William Conrad, the big guy. And I always thought it was so neat. He was driving around with his Lincoln Mark 7. He had a phone in the car. And back in that, we talk about the 70s. Like this is like, wow, he's got a phone in the car. This guy's freaking cool. I don't care how fat he is. No, I'm fat
hmm
and I got a phone in the car. Doesn't yeah, not that impressive anymore.
Yeah.
But
But
no.
they were always exploring something, and they could still. They're so worried nowadays about failing. They should
Hmm.
see what happens, But they want all these check boxes, and they can't stop doing this. Now, some of it is changing, but
Hmm.
if they're serious about this, and also they don't have to have like a superhero movie every year. It could be like a few years. There was even a show that had what was it? I'm trying to remember now what the show was. I think it was the 80s. I think it went on for 4 seasons. This man dressed up he had a cape. It had
Oh,
a
Greatest American
red.
Hero.
Yes, yes,
Mm-hmm.
that was a good show.
Mm-hmm.
Still is a fun show. Um, so yeah, I would like to see more of that again. And I think the streaming services are doing some interesting things, but not all these shows are that great. And it's just, how much money do you want to spend on this?
Mm-hmm. And yeah, I mean, you need to make a risk out there. Not only that, you got to follow through with the risk, even if it didn't
Yes,
grab
yes.
people right away. Go, well, maybe we should go one more season to see if it can grab.
Hmm.
Um, like Cheers. Cheers almost got canceled after the first season. It was only kept alive
Hmm.
because Brandon Tartikoff liked it, or his wife liked it. I can't remember. And that's the only thing that kept the show going to a second season, and it started finding something. We would
Hmm.
have lost that show in one season
Yeah.
because of network idiocracy. Um,
Hmm.
in the 80s, you had so many interesting things going on there that Max Headroom, it only lasted like about a season, but boy, was that interesting going into different areas and trying something new, being brave. Even the Flash series they had, 1990 Flash series,
Hmm.
it got ratings and all that. CBS just didn't want to do it because they didn't want to spend the money. It's like, you
Yeah.
got the audience. What are you doing?
Yeah, well, did you know that the old Batman show would have had another season, but NBC was like, "Oh, they're taking down the set, so let's just forget about it." I found that out in
Mm-hmm.
one of my classes in college a few years ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, stupid
Hmm.
reasons why we
Yeah,
bring something in. Shows that got canceled out because of the Great Rural Purge at CBS in the 70s. Uh,
Firefly was a great
oh,
show.
you know what the big problem with Firefly was, and I can tell you exactly what the reason what that really hurt it. Fox, being the
Hmm.
mighty brains that they were,
Right,
they
right.
grabbed an episode like midway through the
Hmm.
and that showed the first episode of the first movie that introduced you to the world. It's like everyone's kind of going, "What the hell is this all about?"
Hmm.
And I think they weren't able to grab any because of it, because there was nothing for them to identify with what's going on here, and they weren't going to stick around for it. Big
Yeah,
mistake on
and
Fox's part.
yeah, it was a huge mistake on there. I mean, they even gave Dollhouse 2 seasons, and
Mm-hmm.
I grew up with Buffy the Vampire Slayer because it was just a really well written show,
Mm-hmm.
and Dollhouse and Joss Whedon, and of course, what's happened with him is just,
Mm-hmm.
that is something. But these
Oh,
Hollywood people
yeah,
are just, they're crazy. A lot of them.
yeah, it is. And actually, in many ways, I kind of liked Angel a little bit more than Buffy. To be honest with
Angel was a great show too.
you.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that. Like, my former wife loved both of those shows, so needless to say, it's like, okay, well, I'll watch this one with you. But if I have to, I'll sit around and watch Buffy. But I'll definitely watch Angel with you. So,
Yeah, but you're right. And it made the WB more interesting because somebody
mhm,
like Joss Whedon said, well, you had this campy Buffy film, so let's try
mhm,
something else. And let's see how far we can take that. And that show went deep. You had
mhm,
characters who died, you had characters who came back. Um, yeah, it was really well written. And that was high
mhm,
school for me. Yeah,
mhm,
Same
I
here.
watched some of those WB shows. I just, and I like a good drama too. I
mhm,
sometimes like a good soap opera. It's just, I like shows where these characters mean something, where there's going
mhm,
to be penalties, where there's going to be sacrifice, where there's going to be trauma.
mhm,
That's all these shows have always been well written like that. And so when we see a show, it's like, well, we got this character. It's like, well, what does this character do?
mhm,
Why am I supposed to care about this character? And so I'm a
mhm.
person who likes to analyze stuff all the time, Baron. So
Have you ever seen the BBC miniseries I, Claudius from the 1970s?
I have not. I've heard of
Oh,
Claudius, but I have not seen it.
you you need to see that one
Okay.
because it's drama. Of course, goes over speaking about the first five Caesars from Augustus up to Nero.
Hmm.
Um, And the great actors. You have Brian Blessed in there. Sir Derek Jacobi in there. You have Patrick Stewart in it. John
Hmm.
Rhys Davies is in it. I mean, the whole right now you go through a whole list. It's like, oh, these guys became after that one big names. And it's an excellent. If you ever get a chance, I recommend it. Please sit down and watch. I don't think you'll ever one of the best I think out there that was ever made for a miniseries.
Yeah, it's just but I just think it's great, and I think maybe this is another campaign we should do on Twitter or something. I don't know, especially since Twitter's gotten better to an extent. It feels like it, anyways. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
just make some more hashtags about go out of your way and watch old uh Clash of the Titans, even something
Mm-hmm.
like Robin Hood, even if also go back and watch some of these Disney classics. Sleeping
Mm-hmm.
Beauty, for example. That was
Right.
very dark for Disney. It's quite dark, especially with the pinwheel and got the finger got pricked and yep.
And one thing that people don't understand that was done for adults. Those
Yeah.
films, those were not made for
Yeah.
children. Snow
Yeah.
White, no, that the adults were going out, leaving the kids behind. So of
Mhm.
course you had that darker aspect to it, and not necessarily the all the happy frills along with it.
Yep. Well, remember that show on HBO that, of course, only got 2 seasons because it cost too much money, which was really tragic. Rome. Rome was a great
Hmm.
show. Great show on HBO.
I don't. I wish I had HBO. I would have watched it.
It's a great. If you get to, you should
Yeah,
definitely watch it. It's a great show.
I have
Um,
a weakness for Roman history.
yeah, it's very interesting. Very.
Mhm,
Yes.
mhm. But even like you're saying, the sitcoms. When I was growing up, of course, we had sitcoms. Obviously, All in the Family,
Of
Mash,
course. Yes.
Sanford and Son, all those shows in there. But then
Hmm.
you had little, like, quick little jabs that were in there. Like Richard Benjamin did a show called Quark. It lasted about 7 episodes,
Hmm.
making fun of science fiction. Even had Conrad Janus, and it had Tim Thomerson, who later went on to play Jack Death in the Transer films. It was a fun, it was it was done by Buck Henry, for crying out loud.
Hmm.
Who also helped do Get Smart with Mel Brooks, hang out with those crowd. So it was at least on that level good. But then again, what do the networks know?
Yeah, I know. And even, even before all this other stuff, political stuff that they've been pushing, there was always, some bad television out there or just not very good, and it's like, well, I don't think this idea works, but try again.
Mhm.
See what
Right.
happens. But nowadays people are so afraid. They
Hmm.
it's crazy that they've let mobs of people online just literally just not let them do what they want because they feel they have to go in this direction, and it's so weird to me. And
Hmm.
um, gaming is there as well to an extent, but I would definitely recommend a lot of people to go back and watch old shows. X Files. I mean, if you like sci-fi or you like fantasy, watch X Files.
Hmm.
Watch stuff like Futurama. My one friend, he always gets so upset with me because I keep telling him about The Simpsons. I said, well, The Simpsons hasn't done as much pandering as Family Guy. But then I watched
Hmm.
Family Guy last Sunday. It was actually a decent episode. I
Oh.
was like, okay, all right, that you guys might be onto something, but we'll see. It's just you can't be afraid to make jokes, and you can't
No.
once you change your show, it just always seems it's just not the same. And it's not the same, it's just not as good.
Well, when you pander to those who don't watch it,
Mhm.
why?
Exactly.
Were they watching it? No. Are they going to watch it? No. Then fly off.
Mhm.
Take a
Yeah.
flying leap. We don't need you. You have your own stuff. Play in your own uh, uh, playground.
Yeah.
You have that right. Just leave us alone. And having the risks, and even inside franchises having risks, like for Star Trek: The Next Generation, I always said no. Oh, I always sit back and say, you have your guidelines. This is what this universe is, and you stay within that universe guidelines. And so many people narrow it down. They don't want to expand out there. Star Trek: The Next Generation, when they took the risks and broke the rules and expanded it out a little bit, they had some of the best episodes. Family, which took place after Best of Both Worlds, where you got to see Picard and his family. Of course, Tapestry. You had the one where the inner light, those episodes there, which obviously were taking a break off of the normal formulaic that they had, and they
Mm-hmm.
became the great episodes of Star
Mm-hmm.
Trek Next Generation.
Yep.
Even Relics was a great episode. It gave a
Hmm.
reason to have Scotty in an episode, and he wasn't
Yeah.
just thrown in there for the sake of saying, "Hey, here's a classic TOS character. Watch this
Hmm.
episode." No, he was in
And
there
even
for a reason.
hmm and
Yeah.
unification. There's a
Spock.
logical reason for having Spock there, and yeah, pun intended, logical reason why he was in there. And Sark, when you brought Sark back, and seeing some of the characters, it wasn't just, hey, let's bring out a member berry. We actually have a serious story around this character. It's not just a member berry. We're saying, hey, we're prancing around Mark Littard now. Aren't you happy?
Very true. Because in that episode, Sarek, it was a heartbreaking episode to see what was happening to the character. And
Exactly.
the fact that he has the mind meld of Picard, so Picard can take on all the emotions.
Hmm.
Give Patrick Stewart credit for that episode being able
Oh,
to
Yes.
show his acting range.
right. The agony that you're seeing, the agony that was inside of Sarek all this time that he was hiding, or from the others, repressing, and it's all you're seeing the heart of Sarek through Patrick Stewart, and then you're still seeing the Sarek that we all know as he's out there doing his job. And it was what a wonderful episode. These are the ones that broke the rules and took those extra steps and was daring. And I
Mm-hmm.
don't. Yeah, you might miss. You
Mm-hmm.
might miss, but at least you took the chance. You took
Yep.
the risk.
I mean, even those Turtles movies, they're goofy. Like, I know people don't care about 3 and they shouldn't care about 3, but the first two, they were fun and they still felt like the cartoon, and that's was the
Hmm.
point. You can go back and watch them and they're still fun movies and they
Hmm.
still feel like the cartoon, and that's what these people are missing. That's why when I was watching it with one of my other friends, we were watching stuff like Cowboy Bebop. Well, let's just try this on Netflix. No, you guys missed the point. And then these people
Hmm.
get all mad at you because you're criticizing them, but you guys are missing the point. It just why are you doing that? So
Hmm.
did you guys watch the shows? Did you care enough about the show? Did you care enough about what the character is?
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
These are our heroes. I mean, I'm not an Alan Moore fan in that aspect where we have to demolish the hero. The
no,
hero is very important. It's like what made the person a hero.
yep,
And I think where you have the ones where you see the person going out trying to be the hero and faltering is perfect. And then the one who is reluctant. I mean, in many ways, Superman was a reluctant hero. It's like, I
yeah,
have this ability, I have this power. I guess I have to do something about it. And wasn't exactly, let's go out there. And, it wasn't like, he'll look at me type of situation. And, is what makes a hero. And I think it brings out to the fact that anybody can be a hero in this situation. And and that's in little things, just right down to taking the time and actually helping somebody that's in need, being the good Samaritan, you might say.
yeah. And as people have pointed out on certain news stations that are considered evil, whatever. I just making jokes, and also just it would be nice to also see happier movies again too. There's nothing
Hmm.
wrong with that. There's
No.
nothing wrong with that at all. And I'm glad that some people are still pointing that out, how doom and gloom Hollywood is nowadays. And I
Hmm.
wish they would be less gloomy. I really do. It just they want to always put out these stories about how horrible everything is, or how horrible a country is, or the world is. It's like, you guys can make
Hmm.
happy stories again. It's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
It's all
exactly.
right.
Exactly. I mean, look at the Orville. The
That's
Orville's
Yes.
doing what Star Trek should be doing. And sorry, I shouldn't say Star Trek because I don't believe it's Star Trek. Space Travels is doing over there with Kurtzman. I mean, it's not Star Trek; it's Space Travels, and it's
Yeah.
nothing to do with what we've had in the past. Because again, it's dystopian, it's dark, it's cynical, it's and then you see all these sycophants out there saying, "Oh, how wonderful this is! This is so great!" And it's like, talk to me when your IQ goes from 72 to 73, and we can start talking then.
It's the same with the CW shows. Like, we know when they've done well and when they don't do well, and when they're so obsessed with their politics and changing these characters. They had some really good ideas even on shows like Supergirl.
Hmm.
And then they changed the characters. They
Hmm.
changed the female characters. They were just strong people. You're like, "Oh wow, these are really cool characters." But then it's
Hmm.
like a lot of these characters on TV nowadays are whining. It's like, and the acting can be good. Like, I know my brother, when I would turn my head, he's watching something like, I don't know, scenes from a marriage, and basically Oscar Isaac in this role is just a beta male, and I was like,
Hmm.
I don't like this. But the acting's really good, of course, but the story has problems. And I'm not going to tell people that they shouldn't like it, but
Hmm.
it's just, for me, it was just, why is all this pandering going on? You know,
Right.
it's just,
It, and Oscar Isaacs is a good actor. That's why it was so
he is.
disappointing to see him in the space
Absolutely.
conflicts movies.
Hmm.
That his character being pissed on, but then you see him in Dune, and it's like,
Yes,
my word, look at
I
that.
know. I
Where we
know.
go?
Yes.
We had ourselves a Duke Legal Atreides. He did a great job, and it's like I didn't actually have any fear of him taking that part. I know some people did, but it's like I think he can do it. I think he can do it, and he did do it.
Hmm.
Knocked it out of the park.
Yeah. It's just, as I'm seeing the comments in the chat, I mean, just, if Hollywood's not going to do this, then we need somebody like either the Daily Wire or somebody else to be like, you know what, I'm going to try something. I got some money.
Mhm.
Let's try some. I don't really like what's usually coming out. I mean, there's still the Del Toros, but they're from an
Mhm.
older generation. There's still
Mhm.
the Ridley Scotts. I
Mhm.
still like Christopher Nolan a lot, and I like his brother's vision too. I like the way
Mhm.
those guys write. I like how they have their characters are flawed. Even
Mhm.
if people find some of their stuff weird and whatever, I enjoyed stuff like Tenet. I like the Dark Knight trilogy a lot. I
Mhm.
just I want people to try new things and see what happens. And
Take a
if you're going
risk.
to Yes, and if you're going to remake something, then do it right. That's why I know some of my friends always get mad at me about Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, but we learned more about Willy Wonka. I like
Mhm.
that. We learned more
Right.
about the Oompa Loompas. We learned that he had a father. We learned that he how he found his love for chocolate. I love that stuff because I love background and I love
Mhm.
quality backgrounds.
Well, it's like they went more into the book, and let's take a look at the characters from the book and
Hmm.
expand upon that. I mean, I'm one of those, and I know I'll probably get yelled at for saying stuff like that. I would love to see Wizard of Oz redone, but redone like the book, not like a musical,
Yeah.
and have that, but done properly. Importantly, done properly. I think it'd be a perfect bookend between the
Hmm.
two, but you have to do the book right.
Yep. Exactly. So yeah, it's just, there's a lot of entertainment over the years. There's still some quality entertainment, but even kids shows nowadays. I
Mhm.
guess Netflix is. I saw today Netflix is getting all these kids shows like Sonic Boom and this and that and whatever, or Sonic Forces. I'm not sure which one it was.
Mhm.
And they're also doing Green Eggs and Ham, and I'm like, okay, what are they going to do with that? That should be interesting, I guess. But it's on Netflix, so you need Netflix, and Netflix certainly has its problems. But there
Well, yeah.
is like older stuff. It's funny, if you get these streaming services, you probably end up watching a lot of older stuff than newer stuff.
Mhm.
Though I do want to try Squid Game sometime. I did hear a lot of interesting things about that.
What the hell is Squid Games? I don't know what it is. I hear
It's
about it all the time.
it's basically the way these people who were, I think, bad. I think, if I'm not getting this right, people in the chat can tell me. I think people are bad, and then they have to go into this room, and then they're moving. So if they mess up, it's like Simon Says. If they mess up, then they get shot and killed. So
Okay.
a lot of people die in this.
Okay.
So it's got a Hunger Games feel to it, I would probably say. And then there was that. What was that movie? Was it Japan or Korea? South Korea before Hunger Games. where they had the teenagers and they fought to the death.
Yeah, Battle Royale, which was
Battle
that
Royale,
movie.
right? Yes.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, that one.
Mhm. So
Yeah. So.
almost sounds like Fantasy Island if Khan was in character.
Well, they made a new Fantasy Island. Just watch the
Oh,
old one. They made
yeah,
one on Fox, and then they changed things. No, don't
yeah,
do this. Don't
no.
stop it.
And
It's
they brought Malcolm McDowell in to play Mr. Rourke, and it's like, well, okay, you got a good casting there, but can we keep it to what it was? Yeah, it's silly. It was, the show was silly and all that, but
mm-hmm.
it was still entertaining. You could, that was
Yes.
one of my Saturday night shows to watch. It's that and Love Boat. I mean,
Yes.
how more camp and silly can you get?
Right.
I used to watch it as a kid.
Yeah, there were shows even, you turned on. You had stuff like Night Court. Night Court was very entertaining, but I would like to see more shows in the future like Better Call Saul. Well written, that you really like a lot of these characters. They have all these different flaws. There's violence when it's necessary. I love that. There's smart
Kinda like
dialogue. They're funny. There's funny moments. They can be sarcastic when they want to be. It's great.
kind of like the Sopranos when the Sopranos was out.
Right. Yep.
What now? Of course, Better Call Saul is a prequel to the
Yes. Breaking Bad.
to the Breaking Bad. How would you compare that with Breaking Bad? Do you like it more than Breaking Bad? Equal?
I have not surprisingly watched enough Breaking Bad yet. I've only watched some, and I watch El Camino, that movie. But yes, when I finish this, I'm going to watch all of Breaking Bad.
Well, how apropos, go through the prequel and then go through the other one.
Yep.
Sometimes that helps, sometimes that doesn't. You never know.
True.
But yeah, I mean, I like I said, I love all sorts of stuff, whether it's in book form or on the movies or in the television itself. So I mean, I grew up on many sitcoms, obviously. Happy Days, Laverne and Shirley.
Still a fun show. Still a fun show.
Yeah.
Booze and Buddies. I mean, it's
Mork and
funny
Mindy?
saying this. Mork and Mindy was a fun show. These were just fun shows. You, of course, mentioned MASH. You can go back and watch MASH 100,000 times. And since that, of course, is based on a true story to an extent, it's just a well-written show. I just enjoy well-written shows. And even if these, like we've talked about, they fail, who cares? And just see what happens.
Right.
But even, we go back to what? Inspector Gadget. But then we go back to stuff like Rocky and Bullwinkle. At least they tried. And they had something kind of going there in the movie. It somewhat felt like the cartoon. But one thing I don't like, Baron, and this is just my personal feeling about it, is I don't like when shows like we've get live action Alvin and the Chipmunks, you get live action Smurfs. They have to have some stupid poop joke. I just think it's tacky, personally.
I know the poop fart jokes out there. It's like they think that's what the kids want, and it's like
I guess
Lucas was doing that with with the episode 1 with the poop fart jokes in that one. It's like,
that's true. He did. It wasn't too bad in episode 1, but
no, but so was it necessary, George? Well, I'm doing it for
not.
my kid. It's like, okay, whatever. I mean, I guess if you need some of that, Amber Heard can help out with those jokes from now on.
Yeah.
Oh, isn't that a mess?
That's
more ways than one.
Oh, for sure.
I know. It's just, it's crazy. And, I admire an actor's ability. I don't necessarily admire the actor. You know what I mean? So
right. Exactly.
I mean, Ron Perlman goes out there, shoots his mouth off like a moron, but I still appreciate the parts that he's done. I mean, all the way back to Beauty and the Beast TV show they had with Linda Hamilton. I mean, which kind of brought him to the headline. Of course, Hellboy and all the other stuff that he's did. He's a great actor. It's like, can we stay at acting?
But it's like you want to when you talk to these people. It's like, do you know what you just said? This isn't about us wanting a fist fight. This is just. Right. Do you know what you said? Do you know what just came out of your mouth? Did you pay attention what came out of your mouth? Do you understand why you look ignorant by saying that?
Right.
Because I know we all have a brain in our head. And it's funny, man. that's why, people of course don't like jokes anymore. They're so offended by everything. That's why we're not getting stuff like uh old school where there were stereotypes, and
Mm-hmm.
you get stuff like Forgetting Sarah Marshall. These movies were funny because
Mm-hmm.
the situations, especially when the one guy says it's like The Sopranos, it's over, move on.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that stuff's funny. Um, but they're so afraid to really make a good comedy now. I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
still love Anchorman. I thought Anchorman 2 was funny also. There's just funny stereotypical things in there, and I love that stuff. And I wish we could get more comedies again, but these people are so afraid. And of course,
Mm-hmm.
people like the Dave Chappelle thing, he gets attacked.
Mm-hmm.
It's a mess. So
Right.
what is going to break themselves? And even people like Seth Rogen, it's like, dude, you've done funny stuff before. What are you doing? Why are you going
Mm-hmm.
in this direction? Who
He,
are you now? It's the same with the late night shows. All this stuff just,
mm-hmm.
it suffers because people are like, well, this is the way my show is now. Okay, fine. You can do your show any way you want. And maybe there are some funny skits, but it's not, you're more of an activist now, and
Mm-hmm.
you're just isolating certain people. It's silly.
Right. They forget the why Johnny was so popular for almost 30 years on the air.
Yeah, of
One,
course.
nobody was safe when he had his monologues.
No.
He'll go after anybody.
Yep.
And of course, even when the joke went bad out there, he played off the bad joke. And
Hmm.
as he goes, I have my beliefs, political wise, but I also know that half the people out there don't have mine. So it's
That's
like
right.
everybody's fair game, and
Yes.
it's not about me. It's about my guests. When I'm done with my stuff, I'm not going to go out there and run over my guests. The guests are here to tell okay, tell me a story, and then sit back and you kind of react to it. I mean, he had the same thing with many of them, but even Letterman when he was good in the early days, and
Yeah.
Tom Schneider, and even when you went to Regis Philbin and those guys, they it's like,
Yes.
okay, we do a little bit, and then okay, now we're going to have a conversation. It's not all about me, and I'm not going to
Yeah.
pontificate about something.
Right. And why was Who Wants to Be a Millionaire when it first started great? It's mostly because of Regis. It's his
Hmm.
style.
Right.
It just made the show way better. And yes,
Hmm.
John, Seth Rogen has been in stuff that's actually as Knocked Up. He was quite funny in. He wasn't bad in Funny People either. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, all these people here, Jimmy Kimmel. I mean, remember when Jimmy Kimmel was
He
funny?
was really funny. I met him many years ago when he was part of the radio station here, K Rock.
Yeah.
I still have his autograph, dude, from there. When they were
Hmm.
doing the CDs, for the Christmas CDs they were doing, those were funny, when they used to do those. But yeah, he's changed so much.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just it's ridiculous to me.
And
I
considering
mean,
the first thing I saw Jimmy Kimmel in was When Ben Stein's Money.
hmm
He was the
Yes,
sidekick.
yes, he
right.
was. That was a
That's the
fun
first thing.
show. Yep.
Hmm. And then, of course, he went off to do the Man Show with Adam Carolla.
Yes, that was a funny show too. Yes, they
Yeah.
pushed
It,
limits. I love that. Push
mhm.
boundaries. It's great. Yeah,
And now he's all, oh, how horrible all that stuff is. It's like, dude, you did it. You did blackface yourself. But it was
he
funny.
did.
Yeah,
Yes,
it was funny because it was a certain
yes. It
character
was
you
a
were doing.
character. He played, yes, Carl Malone. Yes,
Hmm. And it was hysterical because
yes,
you
it
were
was.
hitting on Carl Malone. And yeah, that's the one thing is like humor is stereotypes.
Yes,
And
of
the thing is,
course.
people fixate. The thing is, everybody in it is stereotyped, but
Yes.
they only want to fixate on a certain one. Say, "Oh, they stereotyped this person. You're a bunch of racists." But what about the other guy?
Yeah, I know,
What
right?
about
Oh, it's
yeah,
okay for
Seriously.
him to do it, but it's not okay for you to do it.
right? I
Right.
mean,
Yeah. It's silly. How
I
can you
mean,
not make
all.
fun of this stuff? Like, look at Batgirl, for example. How can you not sit there and say that it doesn't look like they just painted a bag on her and threw it over her head? Yes, it is comic book accurate. I had this discussion with a friend of mine. She gets always upset when I tell her this, and I said, well, it's just, yes, it's comic book accurate, but it still looks tacky, and it's easy
Hmm.
to make fun of. It just
Hmm.
is.
Yeah.
As I've said before, just because it worked in the comic books doesn't mean it's going to translate to live action.
Exactly. It just looks like they painted a bag. It doesn't even look feminine. And we're talking about Batgirl here. Batgirl is actually cool. I don't know how that Batgirl movie's going to turn out, but Discovery seems to be like, we're going to scrap some things. We're going to fire people. We want to make money. That's what they said. If they're serious about it, they just got to go in better directions. And there's so much they could do with comics. So much.
Yeah, and when it comes around transcribing into the films and all that, well, we want to make it look realistic. It's like, I don't want it to look realistic.
Right. Exactly.
This is a comic book movie. This is fantasy. This is
Right.
escapism. You don't need to have him down with this padded armor. Make Batgirl look like Yvonne Craig, please.
Yes.
I mean, same thing. It's like you don't need to put all this armor on Batman either. It's just let's get through the fantasy element of this all and have fun with it. Just like Christopher Reeve, Linda Carter, and even George Reeves back in the day.
Well, even when it comes to Batman himself in movies, we're continuously getting Joker, Penguin, Catwoman, when there's so many other villains that they could pull from the
Killer
comics.
Croc,
so many other storylines they can pull from the comics too and translate them to the screen.
Right, exactly. There's so many villains out there who are begging to be brought forward. From the comic book, whether it's the Superman world to Batman world, all the if they're going to do a Justice League, let's pull some of these people out and hit right between the eyes. Just
what about a live action version of like Mask of the Phantasm? Who's in that? Was that the? Gosh, it's been so long since I've seen that great movie.
It's been so long.
So long. I'd love to see Mr. Freeze come back. We just they were talking about I saw there's a rumor now Penguin might have an origin story and they might put Clayface in there. That might be interesting.
Oh, Clayface, that's one that needs to be brought in.
We've never seen him in live action.
No, we have not.
And let's think. What was I trying to think of there for? Well, back in '89 when they did the '89, they had of course Billy D. Williams playing Harvey Dent in there.
Yes,
and I was so hoping that the next film we would see Billy D. Williams doing Two-Face.
Yeah.
But he was nowhere around, and Danny DeVito did a Penguin, and I hated that performance of the Penguin.
Really, you didn't like it?
No, everything against what Penguin is. Penguin is more elegant.
He bit off someone's nose. There's a lot of blood, Baron.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of blood, but that's not Penguin. Penguin doesn't do that.
It's dark, I will say that.
Yeah.
But Tim Burton's vision is usually dark, though. Once again, I bring up Alice in Wonderland. When I played that Clive Barker game of Alice in Wonderland where she goes into a mental institution, that's what I wanted to see on the big screen. I wanted to see more of that. She running around with a knife, she killing cards and doing stuff. It was so dark. I mean, her family actually died in the house that she burned. I was like, wow, that is dark. And then she went to a mental institution. I was like, wow, can we get some of this stuff? It can be rated R. It's fine. Yeah.
Well, trying to think, what was the one? I'm getting old. That's the trouble. I'm getting senile.
You're fine, man.
Something came to mind when you were talking about all that. It's like, oh, perfect point and example. And it's like, okay, the perfect point and example wasn't that good, obviously.
Wasn't it the Toy Man or something that was in the animated series? They could have him as a villain in the live action. Do something with live action. Definitely, we can. As John pointed out, you could see Mr. Freeze again. That would be nice because what happened with Arnold,
proper Mr. Freeze would be nice.
Yeah, I would love seeing that and love seeing the live action about his wife, and we know what happened to her because of the animated series. But how they could push it live action? Look, they tried Joker. I wasn't sure about Joker, but it actually turned out very good, and it actually had a very good message about mental health. I got to give the film director credit for that.
Hmm.
Everybody who worked on that, I have to give them credit. That was a very good film, surprisingly. It actually really surprised me.
Joaquin Phoenix was great.
He was really good. Yes.
He's crazy. That's no doubt about
He
that.
was
Probably the best
definitely
choice they have
crazy.
for Joker.
Yes, he
I
was
mean,
crazy.
I still say I love Nicholson as a Joker,
Hmm.
in the '89 film. But I mean, and Jared Leto, forget that.
It
I'm not
just
Jared Leto.
they didn't push it, or it just didn't work. It's a mess.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's like again, it's like start realizing what the villain is. I mean, I suppose the best thing, even though, is Alan Moore's rendition with the Killing Joke. I mean, what a perfect Joker story that was that they brought out there.
It
Unfortunately,
was good. The movie itself, though, just kind of
oh,
fell flat, man. Overall,
big time.
it really did. It was like this could have
I
been
was
better.
so
It
disappointed
was it was
in it.
only pretty good. I mean, and a lot of people have trouble, I guess, with spoiler alert. No, but Batgirl and Batman getting together. I'm saying, well, Batgirl's always had feelings for Batman, and we saw
Hmm.
that in the animated series. She always had feelings for
Hmm.
Batman.
Oh yeah.
You
I
know,
mean, obviously, it's hero worship. She was going out because of hero worship.
yeah. I don't know, Baron, if you ever tried Titans, but like Titans was going in a more R-rated version, but like basically, uh, uh, Starfire started off as like a hooker, and it was
Hmm.
just like she was where I was like, I don't like this. But the Dick Grayson character and the Raven character, like, oh, you guys got this actually right from the comics or the anime. See, you guys can do this stuff. You
Hmm.
just got to do it right. I mean, the material, all the material is there for you guys, and you don't have to use all of it, but there's so much you can use.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Because I remember, of course, in the comic book days, with the Teen Titans, I was never a big fan of the Teen Titan comics. I don't know
Mhm.
why. I just never gravitated to. But a girl I was
Yeah.
dating, she always would get Batman: The Outsiders, and that was a good series they had in there, where
Mhm.
Batman was mentoring a new group of heroes going out there. One of which was Halo, was the name of one of them, and all across the board, and had unique takes to it. It's like this would be a good thing to bring. This is something to bring, somebody hunt down Batman the Outsider and say, hey, maybe this is something we can give a try
Mhm.
on that aspect. And I almost hit the point that I was going to sit back and say, and I forgot again because I'm a moron. But I was in with that Batman the Outsiders.
I mean, could they do stuff probably with Batman Beyond? That was a very good
Oh,
series, really good series. They did
hmm.
really well where they passed the torch from Bruce Wayne to Terry. Terry McGinnis,
Yep.
I think.
Yeah,
Yes.
Terry
Terry McGinnis.
McGinnis.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Hmm. I would love nothing more than to see Michael Keaton being the old Batman guiding him along.
Hmm.
I mean, he could do it. I mean, honestly, I mean, anyone saw him in Birdman and all that. He has it. He can still do it. He could be that older, gruff, get off my lawn,
Yes. Yes.
Batman, and then
Definitely.
be, of course, the mentor,
Yeah.
and hold back. Don't hold back like the Batman did in the film. Telling Terry, hey, you're being a schmuck here.
Yeah.
Wisen up.
Hmm.
And yeah, I mean, even if it's a movie or if it's a TV show, it, that would be
Yeah.
absolutely fantastic. And I now remember what the problem is. And this is what the problem that DC has. What universe are you doing?
Right. Right.
They're all over the place. They're like a squirrel running from one shiny object to another shiny object.
Hmm.
You got the Schneider verse, you have this verse, you have that verse, and it's
Hmm.
just a haggled paggled mess. And it's like what you need to do is you just need to stop,
Yeah.
figure out what's going on, and then go forward. And
Yeah.
try not to copy
Right.
Marvel.
And ask the fans. There's no harm in doing this. Ask the fans what they would like to see, what comic they would like to see, what it
Hmm.
just and how close they can get it to the comic. It doesn't have to be the closest. I mean, I do understand my friend saying if we've already had it in comic form, why do we want to see it live action? But it's also like, well, that would be pretty amazing actually if we see the
Hmm.
comic come to life in live action. I don't know. That'd be pretty awesome considering
Well, yeah.
all the technology they have now. Hmm.
Well, it all goes down to interpretation. I mean,
Yep.
everything's an interpretation.
Yes.
And the big thing is how close are you keeping it to the original flavor? Obviously, there's going to be liberties taken. How do you do the liberties? Do they make sense or not? And that's what makes obviously with the Dune film, obviously they had to make liberties in there in some aspects, and most of them worked. Um, in other translations, you might say. So every translation is not going to be a literal one. You just can't do it across the board.
No.
And it's just no. How smart and how talented and how well do you know this? And if the person who did this is still alive, have you sat down and picked their brain?
Yeah, and so, I know how people feel like about stuff like Battlestar Galactica, but they were like, okay, well, we have a campy version that was first. Let's see what we could do and make it a more realistic version. Let's see how far we can push this.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked that. I was like, wow, yes, let's do that, and they did, and it turned out really well, actually.
One of the
I
sad
thought.
things with Battlestar Galactica, the original one, that's another one
Mhm.
that should have given in their one, because I think if you would have gotten to that second season of Battlestar Galactica, it would have more matured, and you would have had more of the metaphysical and philosophical, because Glenn Larson would have been starting bringing, his obviously he has was a Mormon, and a lot of his Mormon beliefs in bringing in that philosophy with the story, and bringing it into a different level. So you would almost add like a progression from where it was kind of that campy to something more serious. But we didn't get that. We got
No,
Galactic 80 instead.
I see. Yeah, I didn't really watch. I'll have to send me stuff on. Well, if you can find all the old Battlestar Galactica, I'll watch it, Baron.
Hmm.
You might be able to find it on Tubi.
Yeah,
Okay.
Tubi I think
Tubi.
has it. Yeah, and that and Buck Rogers both.
And Tubi, you have to sign up for, right?
No,
Um,
it's free.
Is it
it's a
free
free
like
service.
Roku or whatever? Because I found Sabrina the Teenage Witch on Roku.
Oh well, no, it's just it's an app. So if you
Okay.
have a
Yeah.
if it's on
Yes.
the Roku, you can download the app and all that, and you can
Can
get
I
in there.
download it on
Just
PC then? I guess I can, right?
yeah, you can have a
Okay.
PC,
You can
PC
watch it on
phone.
PC. I'll send you
Yeah,
the link here in a second.
Sweet.
hmm
Yeah.
yeah,
I just and it's really funny too, and I find this funny. Of course, people, these people, the social justice warriors, anybody who just wants to disagree with people and say my opinion's right and yours is wrong or whatever, they have a problem. And I've talked to my friend about this, and she is younger than me about a lot of things, and she just is like, oh well, it's a damsel in distress, and I'm like, is that bad? What if it's the woman saving the man? If it's done well, who
hmm
cares? It can still be great. So
yeah,
I really find it weird now how they've dummied down these female characters when
right.
before they were just like, they're flawed. They've got relationships that matter and so on
hmm
and so forth. Yeah.
Well, a perfect example of the damsel saving the knight. Or Return of the Jedi. Here the
Yes,
stormtroopers come up behind
absolutely.
Han Solo, and Leia shows the pistol. He goes, "I love you." She goes, "I know," and then she goes out, blasts them both. I mean,
Yep.
right there. I mean,
Hmm.
Not only that,
believable. Hmm,
in the
Yep.
original
Go on.
Star Wars movie, they're trying to escape the Death Star. What does Leia do? She takes charge. Yeah, they're in the trash compactor, but she got them out of their situation.
She did.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's like either I'm beginning to like her, I'm going to kill her. It's
Yeah. So
constant.
funny. Uh, uh,
And that's just it. We've had strong female characters.
mm-hmm.
We've had them going back. I mean, watch the old Mission Impossible, and
Mm-hmm.
with
Fun show. Yep.
yeah, exactly. And let's put it this way: I got a mill block on the actress's name. I hate that when I have it, but Martin Landau's then wife. I mean, she was put in situations where she couldn't be a shrieking violet, that's for sure, and had to work her way out. And this is what 1960s series. We're supposed to have that back in the day. That we didn't have female heroes or strong females back then. Uh,
Yep.
it's just absolutely pathetic.
It
Yeah,
is. It's just weird.
hmm and uh, yeah. I mean, yeah, you have the shrieking violets. Yeah, they're out there.
Yeah.
You have the guys that were schmucks. Yeah, they're out there. Take it for all it is. I
Yes.
mean, just
Definitely.
as they say, just sit back, relax, and
Mm-hmm.
you
Yep.
know, don't let it bother you. Don't overanalyze what you're
No.
watching.
Yeah, that can be a problem too. If you like to analyze, you don't want to go crazy because then you might drive yourself insane. Yes.
I mean, I like analyzing a story about what makes it good. Oh,
Right.
okay, this is what's working. That type of analyzing is good. But when you start going into the, other type of analyzing and stuff like that, you kind of have something like
I've
this.
got a degree in homeopathic medicine.
You've got a degree in baloney.
I mean, honestly, that's what happens.
Yes. Well, it's just like Samurai Jack.
Hmm.
Was just Samurai Jack is still a great show. And did you watch Did you watch the last season? It
Me?
was it
No, I
was
didn't.
tragic. It was very
Hmm.
tragic, and especially the love for this woman that he found who was trying to kill him, of course, before. That's always funny to me. It's just like with Bond, and that's another thing. Are they going to change Bond? They may not,
Yeah.
but the last Bond movie
Jane
seemed a
Bond.
bit. It's just kind of some pandering went on, and I thought it was only pretty good. Some great action sequences, but I was really enjoying Daniel Craig, and I didn't really like him in this last Bond movie.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah. I mean,
as much. Yeah.
mhm. Yeah. I mean, I know this is going to. This might make people go crazy, but I thought one of the best Bonds was actually Timothy Dalton. Unfortunately, he didn't have the
He's
best
very
films.
good. Yeah, I mean those films weren't bad, and he was cold
Hmm.
and calculated. I it just
Hmm.
Bond is just another example of just well-written characters, just like what we had seen before with Lord of the Rings. You liked it, just like you see if you like Harry Potter. There's a lot of really interesting characters, and Harry Potter gets into the point where there's characters are going to die.
Hmm.
I'm not really spoiling anything. I'm not going to tell you who, Mike, since you haven't really gotten into Harry Potter yet. But
No, but I
It was the
have
Butler.
promised to watch the first one and do a reaction to it.
yeah, dude, it's a quality film, and
Yeah.
you can see why these books are popular and why that's why I was disappointed with stuff like Hunger Games. They had some really good ideas,
Hmm.
especially Catching Fire, but then when they got to the third and the fourth part, it was like this is just not that good.
Hmm.
It was better before. Catching Fire was I thought it was a great film. It's very, very tragic to an extent. And I thought the first one was very good too. I mean, when I first watched the first one, it was that there was a young girl who dies and some person was crying. I'm like, this girl might be a little too young, or this
Hmm.
kid might be a little too young for this movie, because it's not Hunger Games is not forgiving, and people
Hmm.
are going to die. It's in the title pretty much. Yeah. Hmm.
Well, I mean, when it comes right down to it, I got two words for you on that one: Old Yeller. I mean,
Right.
honestly,
Right. Yeah.
No,
for kids
not
watching
What
old
Bonnie,
Yeller. Come on, Barry. The
Oh,
scars. The scars.
what are we going to go back to Charlotte's Web too? I mean,
oh yeah, Charlotte's
Oh,
Web.
people like
There we
come
go.
on,
people
Dad.
like that spider a lot, dude, and that spider, well, yeah.
Even people with arachnophobia. So, oh, that one's okay. No, it died.
Really? No, dude, those spiders deserve to die, man. John Goodman had to take them out.
Well, no.
Uh,
No, I don't. I'm trying to remember if I ever even seen arachnophobia.
it's good. It's a good movie.
Yeah, I think I saw bits and pieces of it. I love that one. The hungover games. uh, but yeah, I mean, but that's the sad thing though. A lot of these kids are getting fed this dystopia because you have that one. There's a few of the other ones they have out there. Don't even get me started with Twilight.
Have you
Please.
ever watched any Twilight?
No, I just can't do it.
Did my I will tell you this about Twilight. It is funny because the three main characters are less interesting than the families. And if you watch any of Twilight, it's on HBO when it was on HBO, whatever. I think it's HBO.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
it was it just the families were more interesting. The three characters are like, I mean, literally in the first movie is one thing I remember. She's looking Kristen Stewart's character, Bella, she's looking outside of her window for like 20 minutes. I'm like, is this supposed to be considered entertainment? But I refused to go see these movies in the theater. And I would tell people that I did not really enjoy Twilight much. But you're curious, what's this? Just like I was curious about The Sitter. I regret it. I was curious about The Girl Next Door. Well, the best thing about that was Timothy Olyphant.
Well, and it's like that accident on the side of the road. You just can't help but go,
Is this happening?
Yeah, it's like, ooh, you missed the part, Yeah, it's just, sometimes you gotta see those tragic train wrecks to really appreciate the good stuff out there. I mean, I don't think I could ever be a movie critic, honestly. I mean, what those guys have to sometimes watch through. But I think a lot of movie critics are just too full of themselves. I mean, even Cisco and Ebert.
Well, I like them a lot. They had some really good takes. Roper was kind of, some of his takes I didn't care for, but he makes sense. I just don't. A lot of critics now, they're like, well, you want to hear about my politics? No, I really just want to hear about what you think of the film. I don't really want to hear about your politics unless the politics are actually part of the movie. Then fine. I don't. Yeah, just IGN and different websites. They went in that direction. It wasn't good. So.
I mean, I know that. What was it? Who was it? Giant freaking robot, or you can call it something else because they're a bunch of schmucks. I can't remember who it was, but they had this. The Kings and I were looking over pre-show on the article, and it was pre-show. We didn't even get on the show, but it was pre-show. I was already going into a rant because they're talking about Mark Hamill. And they're going about, oh, poor Mark Hamill. All he had was Star Wars, and he was just relegated to this, relegated whatever. It's like, excuse me, Joker.
Yeah, seriously.
All the voice work he does, he stayed busy. And then at the end there, they go, we just hope they just stayed with his political treats he has out there. It's like, now we got it.
Yeah, exactly.
Now we got it.
Yeah, I hate that.
It's like, first of all, you don't understand Mark Hamill's career as it is. Yeah, he might not have gone out there and had the big, in front of the camera, but he sure has had a great career behind the microphone in one fashion or another.
Absolutely.
And it's like, how stupid you are! You don't even know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's what they do. Yeah.
And then you gotta drop something like that at the end. It's like, okay, I can see where your IQ quotient is. You're down into the 60s now.
Yeah.
And of course, what giant freaking robot is kind of a joke, anyways. All of us kind of laugh at when we see somebody from them. So,
I've heard.
I might not badmouth YouTuber, but I'll badmouth them. even though Fats tried to get me to badmouth Mike Zero the other week.
Oh, was he? That's funny.
Yeah.
It's not hard to badmouth.
I could say some things, but I'll keep my mouth shut about it.
It's whatever. Yeah. We don't need to give him more attention.
No. That's the point I was trying to make. It. Fats was going. Well, he's not going to come after you. It's like, well, yeah, I don't like.
Yeah.
He don't need more press.
No, he doesn't. Yeah.
No. He's doing fine by himself. So.
But I also think they should just take into account what anime is doing and why that's still popular, why the mangas are still popular, why these animes are still popular. You watch stuff like Rise of the Shield Hero. This guy supposedly sexually assaulted this woman, but he actually didn't. And all these other heroes are like, we're the best, we're helping it. And then the Shield Hero's like, no, you're not. Look at what you did. Look at what you did in this town. Like, I love seeing things like that. I find that very interesting. And
that's why manga's kicking DC and Marvel's butt.
Yes. And they should all be making tons of money.
Right. That's just it. These people are given golden geese that lay not just one golden egg, but about 5 at one time.
Yes.
And now it's just they're popping out a silver one now and then. I mean, whether it be the DC property, the Marvel property, Star Wars. I mean, yeah, Star Wars is doing good, but it should be doing twice as much, if not more, out there, and really firing. But I don't see the fans all that fired up.
No.
Just take a look at the Starship fiasco that they got going on out there.
Yeah, and Baron, like, for me, because my friends all like, well, I want this representation, I want this, and I just go like, here's an example right here. Here's a gay character. Well, why do we care about this gay character? He's got a relationship that matters. He's some kind of tragedy happened in his life. There may be another character who's like they're on the battlefield together and they said, oh, well, you're gay or something. It's like, yeah, and are we going to die together? We're going to fight together. And I just would say, because those are the kind of things that I grew up with.
Right.
You want these flawed characters. So when they're all like, well, the Hollywood and the foreign press, whatever they want all this representation. It's like, but why do we care? We didn't look at people like Samuel Jackson on screen and we're like, wow, that guy is black. That's amazing. Ha.
Right.
Like, no. We looked at him and said, wow, what a great character. Yeah.
Look at Billy D. Williams as Lando, for crying out loud, right?
Yes.
This is a guy that you expect people to freaking hate because of what he did with Han Solo, but we love him.
Right.
We love the character. We love Billy D.
Yes.
I mean, right there, boom.
Oh, how about Avery Brooks as Commander Sisko, then Captain Sisko?
Yeah.
Exactly. No hold barred with him, and even Geordie LaForge in the show. He was almost like the if you want representation, there was representation for all of us because he was kind of the geeky guy on the Enterprise.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of awkward, out of place, nerdy type of guy. For a lot of those fanboys having relationship problems with girls and so on and so forth. There's your representation right there. There's our eyes in the world.
As someone who was born with cerebral palsy, I didn't need to see somebody like me on screen. What I need to see were characters put in situations in a story that I would watch from start to finish because it would suck me in. That's what I wanted.
Yeah.
Right. And the thing is our representation that we have is the struggles that people go through, not that they look like me type of situation. Right. Even if it's Hercules or someone that's doing this big, huge, massive thing, we can at least identify because we have our own Herculean tasks that we feel overwhelmed with in our life. And we can identify that way. That's what a hero is.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, if a Shaka Zulu, who's a black guy running around there in Africa, we can identify the struggles he's going with, even though he's a tall, skinny black guy, and I'm a mid-sized, fat white guy. At least you can identify with the struggle. It doesn't matter what the skin color is. It doesn't matter what the body
that's right.
the body shape is. It's what is out there. And that's what the representation, and of course, these people have no idea. They don't comprehend. They're not taught story. They're not taught classic literature.
Right.
You don't have people sitting down going through the old classics, the mythologies, whether it's Greek, Roman, Norwegian, or Germanic, you might say, across the board, Egyptian, Chinese, and going all the way back to Gilgamesh, and seeing how that evolution of storytelling and how that influenced into people like Sherlock Holmes and Watson.
Right. And Robin Hood. Characters like Robin Hood.
Right. I mean, Robin Hood was literally a political piece back in the day of King John.
Yes.
All the way back then, and people don't realize that. So I remember one guy was sitting back saying, Alan the Dale and Little John were probably two real people, but they're going around spreading this myth about Robin Hood to stick it to bad Prince John in the day, and that's how, of course, it became popular and grew and grew and grew into what we have today. And that's just it. Again, we identify this. This is someone who's fighting for us. They have their struggle across the board, and they just don't understand that. They don't understand. They don't even understand what Robin Hood's about. Oh, he steals from the rich and gives to the poor. No, he stole from the government that overtaxed and gave it back to the people.
Right.
That's what the story was about. So, And when you don't have people that have that comprehension or be able to identify what these stories about, and being taught by people who, okay, I went to school and now my next job is being a professor. I've never been in the real world.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem.
Yeah,
That's the problem.
it is.
You know, one
Definitely.
moron to another moron to another moron. You know,
Yeah, it's
so,
something.
yeah, and that's just it. I grew up loving stories, and
Yep.
you too, Cash, and of course
Mm-hmm.
you too, Pacific. Um, we love the stories, and they engross us in. And when we see those stories being tore apart in front of us and literally shat upon,
Yep.
it hurts. It's a death. It's a death inside of us, and they don't. Well, they don't care. It's not even the fact they don't understand. They don't care.
Yep.
They
They're
don't
Yeah.
doing whatever
care
they want.
what makes Star Trek and Star Wars and Doctor Who so important to us.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't
Right.
matter to them. It's about pushing their message, pushing
Yes.
their way of thinking onto everyone else when Star Trek didn't do that.
Right.
Yep.
And the thing is they homogenized everything. It's all homogenized. Before you had your individual universes. You had your Doctor Who universe. You had your Star Trek universe. You had your Star Wars universe, and the storytelling was different in there. Star Trek was your Selma, Alabama, more of the social commentary storytelling that was being brought to you.
Mm-hmm.
Star Trek, Star Wars was Dunkirk. That was Battle of the Bulge. That was D
Good
Day.
point. Yep.
It's that larger where we're all going and we're battling the bad guy and we're trying to retake and bring freedom to, well, in this case, the universe. And in Doctor Who is just your space opera going around and has a level of innocence that there's no hanky panky in the TARDIS, and people always sit back and badmouth, oh, it's a companion. Well, the companions are eyes. They're just as important. In fact, they're very important in there.
Yes.
As I say, who is actually the main character in the Sherlock Holmes? I'm talking about the novels. I'm not talking about movies. I'm not talking about TV shows. I'm not talking about radio plays. I'm talking about the books. Who is actually the main character in the Sherlock Holmes story?
Um, it's not. Oh, Watson, of course. Right.
Right. Exactly, because everything is being told through him. You
Right.
never see Sherlock Holmes in the books by himself. There's always Sherlock Holmes coming back and recounting what was going on, and Watson making meticulous notes. So as it goes, he's not only is he the main character, he's our eyes into that universe.
Mm-hmm.
And what honor that Sir Arthur, or how high Sir Arthur Conan Doyle held his readers, because you're talking about Victorian England, and many of the people who are reading these books are like chimney sweeps and people. People are on the lower menial jobs, and this is what they're writing for. So his eyes into the world is a doctor, an
Yeah.
intelligent doctor,
Oh, yes,
and
definitely.
so he had high regards to his readers. He wasn't dumbing down to them.
No.
We don't have that no more.
No, we don't. And everything, people want different titles. Like, look at the secretaries. Even when you watch these older shows, they were important. They took notes.
Hmm.
Those are important, especially
Hmm.
for the detective. But everybody wants to look at it. Oh, well, they're being treated like trash. Oh, these women are trash, or this is trash, and these men and these people of different races were treated like trash. It's like, have you actually watched something? I mean, you get a lot of these people in the new generation, I'm sure, who want to be offended by everything. They look at something like
Hmm.
Blazing Saddles and say that's racist. It's like, have you actually sat down and looked at what this is? It's a comedy. It's supposed to
Hmm.
have stereotypes.
It,
Unfortunately,
it,
they don't look at it as a
No.
comedy. They just do whatever their latest update tells them to do.
it's a
Mhm.
social commentary, and this is what I have to say about it.
Excuse me while I whip this out.
Still funny. Still classic.
It is
It's just
exactly.
great.
I mean, Cleavon
Uh,
Little did such a great job in there, and so
mhm.
much of that film was written by Richard Pryor. And yeah, I mean, it obviously was a social commentary comedy, but they had a way of bringing it out there without, jamming the social commentary down your throat.
The
You were laughing.
Well, look
It's
at like
something we've
the
forgotten to do. Is how to
yeah.
laugh.
We need to laugh more, definitely.
Mhm.
Yep.
Right. Exactly. And realize that we all have stereotypes. Now, if you
Yes.
take the stereotype and use that as the end all be all litmus test to a person or a group of people, you're wrong. But to realize that there are elements of stereotypes that's in us all, for the
Mm-hmm.
Norwegians, someone from a Norwegian background, there's, you got those little litmus tests, especially up here in Minnesota with, hey, don't you know, and, having the Swedish meatballs and the smoked herring and all that.
Yep.
I mean, it's nothing wrong with that. It's fun to
No.
poke at. If you can't poke fun at yourself, well, you have no right to poke fun at anybody else.
Exactly. That's why I miss shows like the Chappelle Show, man. They did so much on that show, but you know,
Mhm.
That's why I
Chappelle
miss
got
Married
burned
with
out.
Children.
Married with Children is still funny though. I don't
Oh,
watch it as much as some of these shows like Frasier that I'll go back and
mhm.
watch, but Married with Children is still funny. Ma'am, no ma'am.
Yeah, no, ma'am. Yep. It's
They explored so many different things about this. It just was with different episodes. Like
Mhm,
you're like, wow, this Al character is horrible, and it's just like this white trash family. But they also go
mhm.
through a lot of different things, and that's why that show still went on like 9 years,
11.
seasons. Was it 11? Was it
11
11?
years.
Okay, okay.
Yes.
I missed a few then.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
11. Yeah, all right.
Yeah. Ed O'Neill has the honor to be on two shows that went 11 seasons.
Nice. Oh yeah, Modern Family, right?
Modern Family. That's correct.
The
Yes.
guy's just a great TV actor, though, and
Oh,
I think he was a good movie actor too.
yeah.
He also was in that they did Dragnet, and Dragnet had potential, but it only went on one season. And it's like, okay,
Hmm.
They didn't give
Yeah.
I
it
think it was on
time to develop.
ABC. Yeah, it was on
Yeah.
ABC. I
Hmm.
think. Yeah,
Yeah. I don't
yeah,
know if
they
they
did.
threw it at a bad time or that, but just, yeah, I
Yeah,
didn't get a
yeah.
chance to get out there at all.
Nope,
And
it didn't.
of course, knowing that he was like the second episode of Miami Vice where he was in there as kind of a shady undercover
Yeah.
narc.
Well, how
And
good was that Crockett scene where Crockett is evil? He goes bad. That was such a good uh arc. It really was. I remember watching that a few years ago because I was finally catching up on Miami Vice, and I was like, wow, this is some of the writing in this show is really good.
yeah. And
Hmm.
you take a look at some of the people that were writing these shows. I mean,
Yeah,
we brought up like a Greatest American Hero. That's Stephen J. Cannell. Cannell
it's a good
also did.
show.
Oh yeah, and
Hmm.
he did so many
Hmm.
shows. So many shows. I mean, he was involved with the Rockford Files, and
Quality show. Yep.
yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
It's kind of funny. There's kind of a story, and I don't know if he's in here. I know there's someone who really loves Glenn Larson, and I like Glenn Larson too. But he had a reputation in Hollywood for being called Glenn Larceny because he could
Hmm.
steal. And he came on the set of Rockford Files one day, and James Gardner just cold cocked him because he was so pissed off because literally, basically stole an episode that they were doing for something he was doing. So he just, cold cocked him and told him to get the hell out. James Gardner was not going to have anything to do with that. But yes, of course, Bizarro or whatever who did Quantum Leap and many other shows too.
Yeah, I never really got into Quantum Leap. I should go back and watch that.
It's a good
Yeah,
show.
the
Hmm.
last
It's
season
worth a
kind of.
watch.
Yeah, the last season.
Yeah, the last season was a little
Yeah, they broke their own rules not to get involved with real people, and they started doing that in that last season.
Hmm. Okay.
Where you jump into a real person or whatnot, and it's like everything leading up to that was a good show, and of course the late great uh, uh, I hate having a Mel Block on his name, but who played Al in the show. He was wonderful in there. He was really really great.
Yeah, I mean, go back and shows like the A Team was fun. I didn't. I don't know if the movie really captured what really what the TV show was, the fun, but maybe it did. I guess I think A Team actually made pretty good money when it first came out. Actually, the
I think he
movie.
did. Yeah,
Uh,
I think he
so
did. And Airwolf, when Airwolf's out there,
I
that
never.
was a good
I
show.
know of that, but I never.
I would
Oh,
watch
Watched it.
that show Any chance I got from my dad.
Yep, Jan Michael Vincent, Ernest Borgnine.
That's all I'll do.
Yep, yeah. And again, it's one of those shows where you gotta suspend a little bit of belief in it because of some of the stuff they're doing, but it's still a fun show.
Oh, yeah.
Fun show.
Yeah.
Especially when you're doing the first 3 seasons before they did the USA season without the main cast they had originally. And that was actually a rip-off of Blue Thunder. If you're familiar with the movie, then they tried doing a TV show, Blue Thunder, and that didn't take, but Airwolf did.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that happens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, and their situation like that you had was I can't remember if we were on the air talking about it. We probably were on the air talking about it, but someone was talking about someone wanting to do Ferris Bueller Day Off, a TV show.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah,
well,
we
they
were
already
talking
did that
about it
back.
this past
Yeah,
Saturday.
Yeah, we were doing it. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
and of course, that failed in 1990, but Parker Lewis Can't Lose, boom, that took off.
Oh.
Sometimes the clones are better.
Yeah, sometimes.
Sometimes he talks about stuff to so many people you don't know who you're talking to anymore. I feel so old. No, I mean, I want to encourage people, especially now that you are getting these services like Tubi, Pluto TV. They're showing a lot of the old stuff, Shout Factory. It's like, I don't want to watch it because it's in black and white. No, sit down, watch it. This is
Yes.
good. I don't want to watch it because it's from the 60s. No, sit down, watch it. It's good.
That's right.
And they
Like
have
to this
them
day,
on.
I don't care how campy the 66 Batman series is. I'll
Still
sit down
fun.
and watch it.
Yeah, me too.
Oh,
why-
yeah.
3 seasons.
I bought it on Blu-ray.
Mm-hmm.
It's a quality. It's just fun. It's a fun show, and they had 2-parters, and they were getting people excited because that's what you're supposed to do when you're being entertained. You're supposed to be excited.
Mm-hmm. And then they had the awesome crossover with the Green Hornet.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yes, that's right. That old Green Hornet. Yes.
Yeah,
And let's not forget
Old show.
Yvonne Craig as Batgirl.
Oh yeah, wasn't she beautiful?
Yes. Oh, she was a great Batgirl. Yeah.
Oh, and that's the one thing that bothers me about how they do Batgirl now. It's like, yeah, Batgirl was not redhead. It was a wig she put on to help hide her identity because she was really a darker girl. It's like, go back to that. Quit making Batgirl.
Wasn't she a redhead though? Even in the animated series, I think she was.
Yeah, they turned her into it in the animated series. Yeah,
but it still worked.
About that. Yeah, I know it worked.
This is for redheads, man.
Well, I mean, I love. Don't get me wrong. I love redheads. Let the redheads out there. But that was one of the situations where she was using that redhead to disguise herself, and it was like maybe even more interesting. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
That
was interesting. Yes.
I mean, I'm all for the gingers. I really am. Nothing like a pretty red-haired lady. I tell you what. The Irish ones, they can get pretty hot and bothered though. Sometimes you gotta be careful.
Well, it's weird.
And canceled.
And canceled. That's it.
We regret to inform you that last night, Baron After Dark was canceled because of reasons.
Reasons. There were many reasons. Multiple reasons.
Well, it's just like with Ariel and these people. Like, Ariel's a redhead, guys. I know it's hard to... You guys, now she has black hair and stuff, and she's not white, and she's not... It's not that. It's just like... It's just... it's so weird. It's just
how about what they did to Tila? Kevin Smith's Masters of the Universe.
Oh, yeah.
They gave her that I just did not. I don't usually like that hairstyle. I thought it worked pretty well with Arcane, but I just didn't like it with Tila. Not after the way I've seen. It was fine when she was first there in the first episode. Oh, okay. Then she's like, I got to change my hair. I got to rebel. I got to. It's silly.
Well, it almost became a uniform for that SJW going out there, men are jerks crowd that you got.
Yeah.
And it's like, and that's just it. Tila, even in the original He-Man series, was pretty darn strong.
She was strong in the 2002 series also.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
She was
that's just
making
it.
fun of Adam then because that's what they did. They had banter. They grew up
Hmm.
together. It makes sense.
Right, and that's what keeps it. There's a rapport. There's a history. There's uh, doggone, these people are idiots.
It's just they just see a different vision, and
Mhm.
it's just not the best. It's fine if they want to do this; it's their property, but it could just go better.
Well, and the thing is, they don't want to do their own property because they know they're going to fail. So let's take something that's already existing, twist and warp it to our ideas. People will like it,
Yes,
and it fails.
right, exactly. And then they yell at the fans or the
Right,
actors. Some of them yell like, "How can this fail?" It's like, did you guys not understand what the material is, or did you want to try something? Did you feel like these characters crying all the time and whining all the time, and this
right.
character's bad and this is terrible? It's just it's crazy to me.
I mean, it's something to show somebody having a week's time doing that, but not constantly. I mean,
No,
you know, the show emotions and feelings, and that people do have their
yes,
weak times and spots.
yes,
It's very important to show that, but when it becomes the end all be all, you fail.
yeah, absolutely,
Just like having someone who has no flaws, you failed.
yes,
Um,
definitely.
and you have to be careful with the flaws, because you start getting the person with the flaws too dark or whatever. You start changing. Then why is this person even a hero or a good guy? This guy's basically a bad guy, pretending to be a hero. Unless that's
Yeah,
how the show
I
want to
I
go.
want to see
But
the black right. I want to see stuff like the Blackest Night. If DC did that live action, because Jeff Johns is still obviously a big part of DC. I would like to see that. He
mhm.
wrote those, so I would love to see that kind of stuff on screen. That'd be awesome.
Sad thing is that they don't talk to them. They don't talk to
No,
these people.
no,
It's like, if you're going to do something like that, if the person's still around, it's like grab them, sit down, have a nice chat and talk.
yes,
Then even come with them saying, "Hey, this is what we've come up with. What input do you have?" I mean, obviously you can say no if they,
yep,
if But the thing is, um, have that respect and
hmm,
take in the wealth of knowledge, and maybe they'll sit back and say, "Well, there's a direction I wanted to go in, but I never felt I could go, and this is your
hmm,
opportunity to do it for me."
hmm,
Wow. Can you
yeah,
imagine that torch being passed on to you?
yeah. Seriously, yep. If we could
That
buy
is,
a piece of some of these properties, even Star Wars or Disney or some, I
mhm,
would do things that they had done in the past, and then I would just push the limits from there. I would
mhm,
go back and do stuff like Sleeping Beauty, but I would find other stories that were dark and gloomy. I would find
mhm,
happy stories.
mhm. And everything in between. I mean, everything that runs the gamut in the one story, where you go from horror to laughing to relief. You can have it all in one film in many ways. Uh, a Fright Night, right there, Fright Night, the original
Mhm. Mhm.
with Roddy McDowell. I mean, it was scary, it was funny, it ran all across the board on that one, and you didn't feel like you walked away cheated at all.
Mhm.
And I don't. I mean, I never saw the remake with David Tennant. I don't know. I just can't do it. I can't watch these remakes, so I don't can't say anything about that one.
A lot of
To
them
be honest
aren't
with you.
that good, no.
No, no. I mean, when Vince Vaughn and Anne Heche did the literally scene by scene remake of Psycho, first of all, why? And it's like you're just redoing the original Psycho over, just using your guys's. What new? Again, why? We got Tony Perkins, everybody. He's good enough. Mother. Oh my God, mother! What do you do, mother?
The only really the Psycho that I cared about, and I still say it's underrated, is American Psycho, which is
Mm,
considered like a dark comedy.
yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
Well, I remember when that book was first coming out. When they had that, I know people were screaming and hollering because uh, I don't think he was exactly 100% upfront with the publisher what the book was he was writing. And when word got out, people were just kind of freaking out a little bit about what he was putting into the book and such, and the publisher said, no, we're not going to do this book. And everyone started screaming censorship, which it wasn't, because he walked away with all his money, right? So the publisher did not ask for any of the advance back, so he kept that, and another publisher published it.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Right.
Why not?
So I mean, that's not. Yeah. Again, that's not. And anything that gave him more PR. It's like now you got people more interested in. Oh, what's this book going to be all about? And the new publishers sit back going, "We're in the money. We're in the money."
That's right.
Exactly. I mean,
Cha-ching.
ka-ching, cash money. There we go.
It's just, I know Mark Zuckerberg will always say like the Social Network. That movie was really interesting, though. Basically, how Facebook was made, and if that happened pretty much like they said it did, that's incredible. But Sorkin can certainly write. So,
oh yeah, yeah, he can. If he's not snorting, Sorkin can do great writing.
is there rumors about him doing drugs or something?
Oh no, he was known for the blow. He was
really.
He was always known for him.
Well, what? Yeah, The West Wing was a really good show too. So.
Oh, Wendy Webb. Well, thank you for being here, Wendy. I'm glad that you were having fun, and my best to your mother. So, so yeah, I know those 5:30 in the mornings are not fun. So, my best, and I hope everything goes great for her knee replacement surgery.
Me too.
We'll be thinking about you.
Me too. Have a good night, Wendy.
Have a good one, Wendy.
I'm surprised Wendy's doing it. I thought they would have tried to go for Jimmy because she's a doctor.
Boy,
I tease Wendy all the time. It's because her parents are all nice and happy because Wendy married a doctor. Wendy's all happy because now no one goes to her for all the medical problems.
Nice.
You gotta like that. But I think coming close to the 2-hour mark, so I think probably start bringing this into a wrap. Any last things that you gentlemen want to say? Cash Money, Silent Mike. We're going to call you Silent Mike. It's kind of like Jay and Silent Bob. It's Cash.
Well, I was just giving Cash the opportunity to speak.
You always give him the opportunity to speak.
I know I do. But I don't want to take over the show. It's not my show.
Yeah, it's not my show either. So.
Oh, you're the guest. I want you guys to take over. That's the thing.
We're not gonna be a bunch of a-holes.
No, well, that's the thing about a show like this where I'm interviewing. It's like Lombardo sat back and said, "Boy, I talked. I felt bad." I said, "Great. I want you to because you're the guest. I want you guys to talk because it's like, well, I see you talk so much on the other shows. It's like, yeah, that's different. I'm a panelist. I'm supposed to, but when it comes around to having people come on shows like this, I love hearing stories. I love hearing what people have to say. Of course, the conversation, needless to say, is just as important. So as it goes, I like to take more of the second, step back and let the others out there do the talking, and I usually come out the richer for it because you learn something new and new different takes on that. Mike, do you still have Cash Money's page on your on there that you can put into the chat so people can go to his channel?
I can get back to it, and I can include the link in the chat.
And yours too. Don't forget yours.
All right.
Unless I got over. Maybe I got over here. I think I got it in the description. I couldn't find. There, I got yours here. I can put yours in. That's no problem. I couldn't find Cash's for some reason because I'm an idiot. So.
He's in the Discord. He can't find the channel.
I got Discord. Yeah, I mean, I gotta get used to doing Discord. In fact, I restarted my computer. I don't even have it up.
Dude, we can watch a whole bunch of stuff in Discord, man. It's awesome.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do something in there and just rot our brains sometime there. So yeah. I got Pacific's channel in there, so you don't have to worry about yourself, Mike. You don't have to worry about being too egotistical. I did.
Yeah, I was just happy that I was able to start up getting my voice out there again, because I had fun playing on Twitch a few years ago, but things happened in my life just like a lot of people, and I needed to find that confidence again to start building a channel or getting my voice out there. But it's not,
Mhm.
my whole thing is, it's not about just me, and I really do mean this. I like working with people like you guys, and I love listening to stories, and I just want us to drive YouTube crazy, really. Just say what pretty much is on our mind for the most part.
Mhm.
And just have a group that can't be stopped, because there's these people out there, they always want war with people like us. They don't like
Mhm.
hearing different opinions, so they want to cancel us, they want to censor us. And I
Right.
think we need to push the just say, we need to get out there and say what's pretty much on your mind, and
Mhm.
care about facts and logic. That's how I've always been. And
And the
yes.
other side, just hear what the
Hmm.
other side has to say. Like,
Yes,
you don't want to be an
absolutely.
echo chamber. That's the
No.
big thing, and that
Yep.
gets bored. And that's
Yep.
what the new Star Trek series is all about. They basically sit back and made it known from the cast on down. If you don't like what we're saying, we don't want you to watch. If you don't agree
Hmm.
with us, don't watch. It's like um, Gene Roddenberry, Gene Kuhn, DC Fontana. Those guys never said that. Never
Hmm.
wanted that.
Right.
Go away, you
Yep.
idiots. And that's the problem. That is
Hmm.
the problem.
And here's the thing, we all seem to travel in the same circles as far as YouTube is concerned.
Hmm.
Aaron, you and I met each other when we were members of Doomcock's channel. I mean, I'm still a member, but not at that
Yeah,
same level anymore.
yeah,
Hmm.
same here.
And Cash, you and I had been on a couple of panels together. And
Hmm.
then we joined Tuesday Night Trek together.
Hmm. That's
And
right.
we've developed a friendship. That's the thing.
Hmm.
Yes.
Three of us
Definitely.
have developed a definitive friendship. We
Yes.
Yeah.
can give each
I
other a
agree.
hard time.
Yes, yes, we can. Yes.
Yeah. You actually put me to work. What new ways can I crap on you two on this week? That's been, now I have to start.
And, you know, it's one of those things where we become friends, but we do so many streams together because we enjoy it. It's like
Hmm.
a week from this Saturday, we're doing another collector stream on my channel.
Yep.
Hmm.
Looking
Yep.
forward to it.
Yeah.
Me too.
Absolutely. So I got to think of new things to talk about collecting. I'll have to find something. A little show and tell. Here's something I collect. I have to do the obligatory mouses on TV. He got to be on there at least once according to the contract.
I mean,
Okay.
even looking at the Star Wars items that you have framed up on your wall,
Hmm.
Hmm.
I bet you could talk about that for hours. We all have
Oh
something
yeah,
that we can talk about for
Hmm.
days upon days, hours upon hours.
Yep.
and how it's important to us. I mean, that's just it. I mean, for me, collecting is not about the money. It's about what does it mean to you. Do you like it or
That's
not?
right. Yep.
And I'm just collecting because I think I'm going to get rich off of it. And then you're a fool. You know? But I go through and I start looking at some of the stuff I have, and sometimes I'll go through the eBay and come across it's like this one book I have. It's like they're asking for $150 for this book. Are they on drugs? But I guess it has monetary. But for me, it has more value because it's my book and I like it. You know,
Yeah. That's
and
cool. Yeah. And that's something we can, because with Twitter, we all have Twitter, and we can
mhm.
put out messages. Like, I want to continue my messages about justice for redheads, because
Mhm.
it's important. I don't like this whole thing about redheads being erased from entertainment.
That is the one thing that pissed me off the most about the new Doom film
Hmm.
is even though they're bad guys,
Hmm.
the Harkonnen were redheads.
Interesting.
The
Were they?
Baron on
Hmm.
down, yeah, the
Okay.
Baron, the Beast
Oh, that's
Raban, and
right. Because in the
they were.
original film, they were redheads.
And even the
Okay.
remake, even the
Interesting.
2000 miniseries, and they were redheads, and yeah, they're bad
Hmm.
guys, but still they're redheads. It's important.
Yeah.
They describe what the characters are, and it's like a redhead can be a good guy or a bad guy. You're not sitting back saying, "Oh, they're all bad now" because you have one bad guy that's a redhead.
Right.
No, that's not the point. And that did bother me about the Dune film. It's like, no,
Yeah.
if the person is supposed to be that way, keep them that way. And they just don't. I don't know what it is about. I mean, I know South Park made fun about it with the going against the soulless gingers and stuff like that, but I really don't know what people have against redheads.
I
I
don't
don't.
know. I really don't know. It's bizarre.
Yeah.
It's really
So.
weird. But I think, I mean, if you guys want to, and I've talked about this a little bit before, we should put out some campaigns on Twitter that,
Hmm.
hopefully will help people. And we just, uh, it's like banging the wall.
Hmm.
We just keep putting those message out at least once a week.
Right.
We can
Just
tag
get
each
people
other or
hands.
whatever. Yeah.
Hmm.
Right. It's a,
Yeah, we definitely. Yeah, we know we need to
Mhm.
talk about making collectibles for kids to get toys for kids to
Yes.
get instead of
Yes.
for
Mhm.
being collectors and other stuff like that. It's like if the other people can do it, well, we can do it too, and we can have a
That's
better
right.
argument.
That's
Make
right.
entertainment fun again.
Right,
Yes.
and that's the
Agreed.
big thing.
More entertainment, anyways. Yes.
Right. I'd rather see quality than
Hmm.
quantity.
That's
That's what
right.
I want to see. So I don't care how many stuff they have going out there because the last thing I want to do when I walk out of watching something is
It stinks.
no, I don't want that. I'm having too much fun with that. I love having those. So, okay. Well, you got your links in the chats here. That's good. And I thank you both, gentlemen. And of course, we'll be continue on headbutting against each other. I of course have the Nerdporial or Admirial who wants to come on. I think I'll have him on next week.
Sweet.
Let's see what's going on.
The
If he thinks
Admiral.
he can handle the Admiral,
Awesome.
Admiral.
Is that going to be the panel? The
Yeah, you know what?
Baron, Cash Money, Mike, and Nerdporial.
Yeah, might as well. We can start going that way. That sounds like fun.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just throwing out
so,
ideas. So yeah.
of course, Mike said next Saturday you got the collector show. You got anything else you want to promote? Obviously, you are constantly talking about the baseball games out there.
Yeah, yes, I am going to be doing a live edition of the box score. Hopefully, the Cubs will win, but I don't know. They're going against the Dodgers, so I know somebody on this panel will be going. I want the Cubs to lose. I want the Cubs to lose. I want to see Mike just have
uh,
pity on his face.
Do we have a war between Cash and Mike?
Well,
the
it's
Cubs and the
either
Dodgers do play each year, so
it's either
Well,
Cash and myself or Whoopa Troopa and myself. I mean,
yes.
I don't know
oh,
which is worse. Cash being the Dodger fan or Whoopa Troopa being the Cardinal fan.
what we have here is the agony of defeat. And
By,
Oh,
by
and
the way, by the
before,
way, I do
yeah.
have a certain video
Oh,
that the
yeah, I
three of
saw
us are
that.
going to be doing commentary
yes.
on.
When
I
are we
was
gonna do
about to
that?
bring that up.
We can talk
Mhm.
about it after the show if you don't mind.
Okay. Yeah, we can
Sweet.
do a quick talk in there. Yeah, definitely.
Sweet.
Yeah, I saw a little bit of the video, but yeah,
Yeah. Mm,
someone got put in his place.
yeah.
I tried to warn him. I tried to
I
warn.
know. I know. I know. We tried, but he's pretty cocky. You have anything of interest you want to put out there, Mr. Cash Money?
Yeah, I should just working on thumbnails right now. I'm working on making the channel more professional, but we usually do live streams. It's just recently we haven't, but I'm gonna have some gaming video and some tips on stuff sooner, very soon.
Oh, great. Looking forward to seeing that.
Cool.
Definitely. And of course, for myself, of course, every Wednesday at 9, I'm here, as best as I can be. But every Sunday is fun day, especially when you have the prime time kings, 5:15 Central Standard Time. That's where you have 24/7 Fusion Media, the mysterious vigilante Williamson, and of course, the Crisco Kid himself, the fantastic Fat Steven Seagal, and yours truly, joining in, of course, every Sunday, 5:15 Central Standard Time. You never know what we'll talk about. We might even start the show on time. I can't guarantee that, though. Not at all. So, so everybody, I want to thank everybody who is there. The old man out there, John Rindle, Tim's talk. It's good to see you, DJ Ronnie G. We of course Pacific. Oh, that's right. You put that in there. So I'm not going to razzle you on that one. Wendy Webb, of course, was with us, and of course, our best to you for your mother. Fox Friday nights. I almost said something else. Fox Friday nights. I'm losing. Nerdtorial was here in the house as well. Let's see. There's a lot of chat that was going on in the chat. That's good. Zax was here, and from the Great White North, eh? I don't know if Zach's still here or not, but I don't think I have anything pulled up for Strange Brew yet on mine. Texas Salty Sea was here. Good to see you. Anomas, he was here. Great to have. Of course, Arwen was graced us with a giggle. And
Yes.
let's see, I think I got just about everybody that was. Oh, of course, Glenn. So I thank everybody and all the lurkers as well. If it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't have a purpose for being here. So I thank you all for joining us for Baron After Dark. I am the Baron. Cash Money's next to me. And of course, next to him is Pacific414. And I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful night.
Yo, dudes, the Empire's pretty chill. Maybe you could, join it or something.